Matthew.
This is me.
Hey, everybody.
And myself, Roy. That's right. We are your Zingerz players for the evening, and now it is time for us to start our show with a game that we started off with a couple of weeks ago, and the audience seemed to really love it, so we're going to do it again for you guys today. It's a game called Pitch Perfect. Now, the way Pitch Perfect works is that all of us are salesmen pitching a new product or service designed to solve a problem. We are going to be helped in this pitch with slides. These slides are going to have pictures and words on them, and we have to incorporate whatever picture and word pop up into our portion of the pitch. Now, we have no idea what's going to be popping up. These pictures are going to be popping up at random through a computer software. We have no clue what's going on. It's completely random, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, what I need from you guys in the chat, I need a problem that needs to be solved. Please give me a problem that needs to be solved. It could be any kind of problem at all, no matter how silly it is. Brett lost his tooth. I'm assuming Brett's kid lost his tooth or her tooth. So we'll go with tooth loss. Tooth loss is the problem we're trying to solve. Tooth loss, and begin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We realize that tooth loss, whether in a small scale or a large scale, is a concern for everyone. So we're glad that you're here to discuss this with us today. We realized that the problem when it came to teeth was that when a tooth is lost, it is unique. And these teeth fall out like clockwork from youth to old, well, hopefully not to old age. But they have this tendency to be unique, every single one of them. We realized customization was a real problem, whether we replace the teeth or just stick them back in. Michael, why don't you tell us more?
Of course, I mean, seriously, people, it's time. It's time to look at everything, that's catching up with us. Sometimes, it just flies by, and we have to keep up with these things. And Nisha's going to tell us all about that.
Thank you, Michael. It's definitely a difficult topic. But you know what's interesting? Losing teeth can sometimes be black and white, or sometimes it can be like rolling a dice. You never know how many you will lose. And that is a terrible problem that we all have. Roy, why don't you tackle more into the problem that we have at hand?
Thank you, Nisha, for that wonderful insight. Yes, it is a huge problem. It's a problem that is just going up and 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 costing more and more and more and more and more. Every single time people lose a tooth, whether it be from tooth fairy fees to just having to buy new teeth. And the lessons learned from this experience are what we are using to create a solution to this problem. Matthew, why don't you explain more?
Thanks so much, Roy. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we put our heads together, and we decided that the first step was to understand how teeth are attached. And what we found is there's 56 different ways that teeth can be attached inside the human mouth. So what we've done is isolate all of those and create a product that will let you get your teeth back. Hey, Mike, why don't you share a little bit more about that process?
Thank you, Matthew. When we figured out that we could reattach teeth, the problem we ran into was one of quality. See, like any sad child looking out the window when they can't play outside on the first school day, we knew that if your teeth also fell like snow out of your mouth, that you too would be sad. And so we needed a really secure methodology to fix this problem. Michael, why don't you tell us about it?
Of course. I mean, sometimes we just had to secure things with rust sometimes, and then sometimes we just let it flop over. We went through everything. 8 in 10 adults would tell us that most of our methods didn't work, but then we finally found one. Nisha's going to tell us.
That's right, Michael. It was a revolution. And we often, when we looked at our clients without teeth, we thought that they were so cute, very puppy-like, sometimes their cheeks went in. It was just so gorgeous to look at. But let's come back to the problem at hand and talk about the core competencies that were involved, which was tackling the 56 ways to put your teeth back. So Roy, tell us more.
Thank you, Nisha. Yes, we are trying to tackle that problem of being able to put your teeth back, but it's a very time-consuming problem, and something very unexpected happened during our research. I want to let Matthew tell you what that was.
Oh yeah. Well, what we discovered when you really get into the problem, it starts to blow up, and you realize that you've got to find a way to get your teeth in a synergistic relationship with your mouth. That's how you keep them permanently attached. Much like you might have a sucker attached to a wall or onto a window. So that's what we decided. That's where we found the key to solving this problem. And Mike's gonna tell us a little bit more about that.
Didn't hear anything about a fuzzy
approach.
duck in there, but that's all right. So here's what we realized. If you're gonna fit, we looked at this problem so closely, and we had to be really crafty. Let me tell you, sometimes fuzzy stuff just didn't cut it. Fuzzy math was not enough. We realized if we were gonna put any teeth in, we needed to organize all of your teeth. Michael's gonna tell you about that.
Of course, all organization was absolutely necessary. I mean, sometimes, we'd be so stone cold about our purpose that we would not be mobile at all. We would be stuck there, and we'd just stare at it and everything. And Nisha really figured it out at the last minute. Nisha, tell us.
Oh gosh, oh no.
That's right. When we opened our patient's mouth, it was like a hurricane that had no walls and no barriers. So it was saliva spitting out. And this problem exists in 370 million people around the world. And we thought we need to set up barriers to stop this free fall tropical storm that's happening in their mouths. Roy?
Yes, Nisha, we did. You know what? I have a funny story about that. I do, because during that whirlwind, the tossing and turning of the problems that we had, we were adrift at sea, just trying to go through, and we just discovered, you know what? Glue works just fine. So we decided to glue the teeth in. Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when it gets right down to it, the simplest solution is to just ape an existing solution. And that is just glue teeth in. But the important thing is not the gluing, it's the branding. And we're calling this tooth attach. So for just 5 payments of $29.99, you can get tooth attach and never worry about losing your teeth again. Thank you.
Not to be confused with Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's when we began our association with Gorilla Glue.
That was the invention of Gorilla Glue. It's a well-known fact that Gorilla Glue was first used to attach teeth back into people's mouths. So our next game is a game called World's Worst. What happens at World's Worst is that you guys in the audience are going to supply us with different subjects that you would like us to give you the world's worst example of, and then we will give you the world's worst example. So let's start with our first suggestion. Give me a type of let's get a type of activity, something fun you like to do. Painting.
Painting. Gluing.
Gluing.
We already gave you
All
the
right,
world's
well,
worst
just
gluing.
okay.
World's worst painter.
Mike.
to say, is Roy not calling on anyone?
Nope.
Oh.
Mike.
No, I think it's fine. Hold on. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. Nisha.
Hey guys, you have got to smell this, and by the smell, you can tell what color it is. Ooh, that's a lavender.
Man, its taste smells like a different color after I smell it enough.
Matthew.
Yeah. I'm seeing green and maybe. Where are you again, Marco? Marco.
All right, we need another suggestion. We need a suggestion for an acquaintance, someone you know, but they're not your friend or your family. Something like the mailman, something like that. So you know them, but they're not your friend or family. So what? Give us a suggestion for that.
Oh, we had something after gluing too, didn't we?
Skydiving.
Skydiving.
Oh, skydiving.
But you know what? Firefighter.
Firefighter.
For this next one,
Firefighter.
firefighter.
Master.
Very good.
Ice cream man. Oh gosh, look at all these great suggestions. Holy cow.
Let's start with firefighter. World's worst firefighter. All right. Nisha.
Hey buddies, who's hungry? I got some meat in the truck, and we have a fire. Come on, let's eat.
Mike.
I'm good to go.
It's not an ice.
I realized Matthew and I were probably going for the same
Probably
thing.
going for the same thing.
Yeah, well.
All right, so for me. All right. Yeah, I'm here to fight the fire. Let's go. Matthew.
Yeah. So let me just get rid of this for you.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. You know what? Mike said you saw Ice Cream Man. So world's worst ice cream man. How about that? World's worst ice cream man. Michael.
Listen, this is Texas. You're just gonna have to take it creamy.
Oh God.
Mike.
Look, I got this paint from this lady who smells it. I swear it's ice cream.
Matthew.
Yeah, we're an artisanal restaurant. You make your own. Here's your ice. Here's your cream.
Oh.
All right, I got one.
Nice.
Yes, we are an artisanal ice cream parlor. You make your own. There's some chocolate.
Oh,
Oh. Mm.
yeah, that was.
And on that note, let's go next suggestion. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nisha. You go ahead. You got one. Go ahead.
Oh no, let's move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're doing Amazon delivery.
Oh, so car salesman. This is the world's worst car salesman. Thank you, Stephanie. World's worst car salesman. All right. Michael.
Yeah, it's been in a wreck 5 times, and we've had to repair. It's all right.
All right, I got one. Yeah, the trunk will fit like 3 bodies. Matthew.
We know people are having trouble making their payments right now, so we're just gonna go ahead and repossess it while you do the test drive.
Mike.
Look, everyone wants to be on. No one wants to be on the road during rush hour. So we have a solution. You could go over it.
Nisha.
Oh, the radiator, it's just a little bit hot, but don't worry. If it ever starts a fire, you can call our in-house firefighters.
Matthew.
Hey, you know, some people, you go watch a car race and you see flames coming out the back of a car. This car's even better. We've got flames coming out both ends.
Okay, I got one. Yeah, the wheels are extra. All right. Okay. So let's do one last suggestion. Finish the sentence for me. World's worst way to blank. The example is die. World's worst way to die. So something else. World's worst way to. Right in the chat section. Vacuum. Thank you, Brett. Vacuum. World's worst way to vacuum. Mike. That's just disgusting. All right. So. All right. So how about the next one was world's way to cut your hair. World's way to cut your hair. Who's got one for that? Michael. Of course, Michael.
I got this.
Mike.
I called this Zoom meeting, so hopefully somebody can help me figure out exactly what I need to do.
Now we know why your hair looks like that, Mike.
Oh.
Nisha, if you would come to the meetings I call.
Okay. All right. Here's a good one. Here's a good one from Stephanie. World's worst way to fart in public. Michael. There you go.
That was the worst way to fart in public.
Pretty straightforward there. All right, I got one. All right.
Oh, goodness.
Who's got a match?
Matthew and I've got lighters.
We got firefighters.
Or Matthew.
Fire in the hole.
All right. Very good. Our next game is a game called The Last Second Expert. We're going to let Mike tell you all about it. Mike.
Thank you, Roy. In the game of Last Second Expert, we have gathered together for you the four finest. We've gathered to you 4 experts. That's really all it is. 4 experts. And these 4 experts, we're going to use the term loosely, are going to argue about which of them is the most expert on a topic of your choice. So while I'm talking, feel free to throw something up in the chat of a topic that you'd like to see somebody be an expert on, whether or not that's ever an expertise that somebody would normally have. In the meantime, let me explain. They're going to take turns farting. Yes, of course. We already did that one, thankfully.
I think we've proven our expert ability to
Yeah.
fart.
Yeah, so these 4 experts are going to argue about which of them is the bigger expert on the topic. However, they tend to get a little carried away and maybe fall off topic a little bit. We'll see what happens. But they'll take turns. Star Wars, perfect. Yeah, well, we know who's poking an eye. Oh, yeah, let's, oh, man, we should take the first one that came in. Poking an eye is brilliant. But, oh my gosh, miniature golf, they just keep getting better. Okay, we got to take the first one. We'll take Star Wars. Got to be an expert. We're going to have experts on Star Wars. And maybe we'll even stay somewhere vaguely on the topic. As the person who is obviously the most likely to be an expert on Star Wars, Nisha, why don't you go ahead and start? Let me go ahead and get my timer here. We'll start with 2 minutes on the clock. Expert on Dryerland. Oh my gosh. Nice. I want to play this game like 18 times just with the suggestions we just got. Okay, Nisha, 2 minutes. When you're ready, begin.
Thank you, Mike. And you know, when we talk about Star Wars, we have to look up.
Challenge.
Oh, yes, Matthew.
It's Star Wars, not Star Wars.
Yeah, that seems a little petty for the first 7 seconds. Nisha, keep going.
Okay, all right. Let's not talk about pronunciation right now, but I am talking about looking up in the galaxy and
Challenge.
Yes, Michael was first.
It wasn't pronunciation, it was enunciation.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Matthew?
It wasn't this galaxy. It was a galaxy far, far away.
Indeed it was. Matthew, why don't you tell us about a galaxy far, far away? 1 minute.
It was also, yeah, it was a long time ago, and there was a race of people that we assume to be humans because we're ethnocentric.
Nisha. Yes, Nisha.
How do you know that it was a long, long time away? Time is something that you cannot measure.
Challenge.
Because the blue letters told us, Nisha. Matthew, why don't you go ahead and continue?
Yes, if we go back to the source text of the Star Wars mythology, we will see that it was many, 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 many years ago, and there were many alien species. Although we learned that the Empire was in the process of trying to reduce.
Yes, Michael.
Of course we can measure time. You've got a timer right there.
That's fair. I do have a timer. We can measure time. Michael, why don't you tell us about measurements of time?
Well, of course. I mean, measurements of time is what this is all about. I mean, we're talking about long, long time ago. Well, we got to know when a long, long time ago was. I mean,
Challenge.
Yes, Matthew. What am I? Okay, there we are. Matthew's first.
Well, what we use is we use a timeline that's based off of A New Hope, which was the story of the first canonically released Star Wars movie. And then we go backwards from there to before A New Hope and after A New Hope in order to determine the time frame of the Star Wars galaxy, which again is far, far away.
Okay, Roy, what was your objection?
He said he didn't know how long ago, but it says a long, long, long time ago, so it's 3 longs ago.
That's fair. Roy, that does seem more to the point. Roy, why don't you tell us about the length of a long? 1 minute 12 on the clock when you're ready.
A long is longer than a short, but not quite as long as a football field length long. It's more like a
challenge.
Matthew was first.
I believe that Roy is making the same mistake that Han Solo made on Tatooine by confusing time and distance. He's going to tell us next that it was parsecs ago.
Challenge.
Roy? Yes, Roy?
Yeah, I'm about to make the same mistake Han Solo did by shooting first.
Got it. Matthew. Kudos on that one, Roy. Michael, what was your objection?
I have no idea.
All right, Matthew, why don't you tell us about parsecs? 1 minute, 1 second on the clock when you're ready.
Now, parsecs is a measurement of distance. However, Han Solo made the mistake of saying, well, what we thought was the mistake until...
Roy.
Parsecs are actually a measurement of time because they're a particle of a second. Parsec.
Wouldn't that be a physical object then?
It's time. Seconds.
So your argument then is that time is a physical... Yes, Matthew.
Einstein proved that space and time are intertwined and that we live within a space-time continuum. Time is not a separate object.
Challenge.
Well, then on that note, I would go with Roy, but he's objecting apparently to himself. Yes,
no,
Roy?
fine.
Okay, well then, Roy, 52 seconds on the clock.
Well, Einstein would not have been able to establish a parsec considering that he was not alive a long, long, long time ago back in the past. And,
yes, Nisha.
Far away.
No, stop, Roy. Nisha talks now.
As the only person who has fought with stars, that means being in Star Wars, I say that these fellow experts are talking gibberish.
Okay, Matthew, you had an objection in there? Yeah?
Well, in challenge to her, I have said some nasty things on Twitter to famous people, which I think also qualifies me as a Star Wars participant.
Yeah, but what I want to hear about is the gladiatorial combat with stars that Nisha was talking about. Nisha, you have 43 seconds on the clock.
Thank you, Mike. You know, it was a cold, cold, cold night in 1940.
Yes, Michael.
It could have been cold that night. She knows better.
Challenge.
Matthew.
She says she's never heard about a long time ago, a long, long time ago, and then she's cold, cold. Come on, you know Star Wars. Stop pretending you don't.
That repetition, that's fair. Roy?
Space is cold, so she might have a point.
Challenge.
Matthew.
No one can hear you scream in space.
Challenge.
Roy.
No one can hear me shoot first in space.
But you haven't shot at all. Nisha.
I can hear me scream in space.
That's I want to see. Nisha, 34 seconds. Scream in space for us.
That's right. You know, it is all about screaming in space.
Nope, objection. That was not screaming nor in space. Michael, why don't you show us something more appropriate?
Challenge.
Yeah, that wasn't a scream either. Matthew? Very poignant. and
Okay.
thoughtful. I appreciate the dedication to the duration on this objection as well. Roy, what was your objection?
My objection was actually
We're
to
screaming in
Michael.
space.
My objection was actually to Michael because Wookiees don't sound like that.
Well, I'm going to go back to Matthew screaming in space. Matthew's 26 seconds, please, about screaming in space.
As we saw from the documentary 2001,
No, yeah,
you
that's
can.
Roy. Hold on, Roy.
He just took a nice big breath. You can't breathe
He
in
took
space
a
either.
giant breath. Thank you, Roy.
No, it's
20
because I
seconds.
closed the airlock like in
late.
2001.
No, we saw no airlock doors. The pod bay doors are still open, Dave. Roy, 20 seconds left on the clock.
You cannot breathe in space. Take a big. You just
Challenge.
your lungs will explode.
Matthew,
You can breathe in space if you're wearing a spacesuit.
this is entirely true. Matthew, why don't you tell us about wearing a spacesuit?
Spacesuits would allow humans to go into space without the use of a
Challenge.
spaceship.
Yes, Roy first.
Space suits also allow aliens to breathe in space as well. Not just humans.
Matthew or Michael, did you have something different in there?
No, you know, equal equality. You know, aliens deserve rights.
Oh, you know what? I want to hear about alien rights. Michael, 11 seconds on the clock. Talk about alien rights when you're ready.
Well, you know, all this time aliens have only had lifts. They need some rights too.
Challenge.
Roy,
It's very well documented that most aliens don't even have left or right arms, so they have neither.
Challenge.
Matthew?
I don't know about you, but I don't want a bunch of aliens dripping acid and implanting eggs inside of me.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a family-friendly show. Roy, why don't you tell us about the non-bilateral aliens? You have 5 seconds left on the clock.
Many aliens will look like worms, kind of, because they really have no appendages of any kind.
Challenge.
Yes, Nisha.
I think it's a horrible statement what Roy made that aliens look like worms.
Challenge.
That's fair. Matthew.
Aliens look like little gray guys with weird eyes and tiny mouths. I see
So
them every night.
Are you saying
I
it
mean,
wasn't a horrible statement? Are you saying it wasn't a horrible statement for Roy to call them worms?
Challenge.
What, Roy? I'm trying to get a clarification from Matthew. What do you want?
Fine. Good.
The worms are their pets.
Now,
Got it.
challenge.
It sounds like Roy.
They can look like worms. Jabba the Hutt looks like a worm.
Challenge.
Ooh. Michael?
You look more like a slug.
I would kind of
Challenge.
tend to agree. Matthew?
He looked like a hut. He had little arms. He's obviously not a worm. Worms don't have arms.
Oh, see?
That's fair. So I'm going to go with Nisha then, that it was a horrible statement for Roy to make, to say that they look like worms. Nisha, you have 1 second left on the clock when you're ready.
We should not be referring to it.
I'm sorry, Roy. Nisha is our last second expert.
Equal rights for aliens.
Oh, you just wait till you have holes all over your spaceship from acid.
I'm just saying we need to build a wall around the planet.
All right.
Yeah,
now.
like in Spaceballs to keep all the air in.
Yes.
A big brick wall, airtight, light-proof brick wall.
Congratulations, Anisha, for the winner on that round. Congratulations, Anisha. All right, well, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate having you all here. We have going to be here every Saturday, 11 to 5 until we're able to reopen. We're not sure what that's going to be yet. We will let you know as soon as we know. But until then, we have private shows available that we can do on Zoom. They are super, super cheap and a lot of fun. A great way to get together online. And we can even do virtual fundraisers. If you know of any cause or group organization that needs to raise money right now, but they can't, we can help them raise money with our virtual comedy fundraisers. We love all of you. We're so glad you came here and had a great time with us. And we'll see y'all again next week, live at 5. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Roy forgot how to end the show again.
I'm doing it.